Hey everyone, Dominic here with the Raving Hordes Game Club in Saskatoon. This time we've got a 4,500 point battle, Orc and Goblins versus the Beastherds. We played Frontline Clash with Secure the Target as the secondary. Here's a quick look at the table for terrain. We have a hill, forest, impassable, some fields, and a hill over there. Beastherds put their token down first. I got them to start deploying. After a few drops, they ended up just dropping to try and take first turn. So this is a look at their deployment. They have a unit of Centaurs over here, Minotaurs, Wildhorns, a Minotaur Warlord who's the general. He's got a Shaman in there, I believe. Next to that, he has a unit of Longhorns in the forest with a BSB. A Gortok next to that. Another unit of Wildhorns beside that. You can see this is his token as well for secure target. And finishing off over here, he's got a Chariot. This little poker chip over here is my target. And here's my deployment. So we have a Git launcher, Gargantula, a big unit of common orcs with paired weapons, and there's a orc chief in there. Right next to that, I've got my common orc general on a chariot. Next to that, we've got a unit of cave goblins with nets and bows. A unit of iron orcs with an iron orc BSB in there. Behind that is a common orc shaman. In the forest, we've got a unit of common orc boar riders, a forest goblin king on a huntsman spider, another unit of common orcs with bows over here, another git launcher, and then I had two units of scouts that went over here, and one of them vanguarded up. Like I said, Beastherds took turn one, so let's get right into it. So this is just looking at the table as we go into turn one. Beastherds kind of move up a little bit all along their lines. They don't have a lot to do, and no shooting, not a whole lot of magic for them either, so brings the Chariot around to watch the flanks. Goes right into the magic phase. He tried to bring a totemic summons back here, which was dispelled. And then he got Blackwing Totem off on the Minotaurs. I believe he also tried to cast another spell over here to bump this guy's resilience, but failed the casting roll. And that was pretty much it for turn one. For Orc and Goblins, going into turn one, the Gargantula moves over, as does the General. Bit of my lines stay put. The Iron Orcs move up, as do the Boar Boys beside, and that Forest Goblin King. Move those two units of Forest Goblin Raiders along the flank there. The Bowmen moved up a little bit. And that's pretty much it for movement. We go into Magic phase, and I cast Awaken the Beast to bump these guys' resilience. It does go off. And then we tried to do a Swarm of Insects, and I believe it still went off, and we did a wound to the Gortok. 2 wounds to the Gortok, it looks like. We go into shooting over here. The Kit Launcher misfires and suffers a wound. Take some bow shots at the Gortok. I think one of his wounds actually came from the bow shooting. And I think that's pretty much it. These bows shot over here didn't really do anything, I don't think. And there's those bows over there. This is the start of turn 2 for the Beastherds. So the Gortok declares a charge, and I think that was it for charges, actually. So he comes in. Actually, I think there was another one. Maybe not. So that Gortok comes in, makes a charge no problem. The rest of the army continues to move up. He goes into magic phase. I don't think he managed to get anything off, actually, in his magic phase. He was trying to buff this guy's resilience. That didn't go off. Failed his next casting roll with a fizzle, got some dice back, and then unfortunately failed the next casting roll after that. So magic was very ineffective here for him. Yeah, pretty easy. We go into this combat here. He directs all of his attacks right against my BSB. He gets a lucky killing blow off of, or a lethal strike, I guess, on the BSB. And thunderstomps a few other ones. I don't manage to put the last remaining wounds on him, though. I kind of whiffed my attacks. I think he only had one left. Start of my turn 2. We charge the flank with these goblins. Just trying to take that Gortok strength down is kind of what I was figuring. Preserve some bodies. The Forest Goblin King declares a charge against his Chariot. And looking back, there was another charge. In his turn, he declared a charge from that Chariot to the Boar Riders that were here, and they fled. They suffered 2 wounds going through the forest. He redirected his charge and failed and ended up over here. So they make it in. That Forest Goblin King fails. These guys continue to flee, lose another wound in the forest, and we go into magic. So we do Awaken the Beast over here to bump these guys' resilience again. We go into shooting. This thing misfired again and can't shoot for the rest of the game now. We went shooting at the Chariot. Both the bow orcs as well as the thrown weapons and the other Git launcher all fired at that Chariot just to make sure it got off the table. We go into combat, and I wipe out the Gortok, and these guys reform to face the fray. And that's what we're looking like as we go into the start of turn 3 for Beastherds. That's kind of what things are shaping up to be. So the first charge, these Centaurs come into here. Make it no problem. He declares a charge from the Longhorns into the Cave Goblins. I stand and shoot. I think I killed one, luckily. Then he declares a charge from this guy into those Cave Goblins, and I flee. He redirects his charge from here into the Iron Orcs, and he redirects this guy into the Common Orcs that are over here, and then he declares this charge over here from the Wild Horns as well. I think that was it for charges, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so there's all those ones. Actually, it looks like these Wild Horns declared a charge against my Forest Goblin King as well. And these guys, I think everybody actually fails this charge. Yeah, so everybody fails that one. We go into magic. Magic, again, was surprisingly ineffective. Just couldn't seem to get spells off this game. Either failed casting roll, or when he did beat the casting roll, that's the one that I was stopped. So we go into combat. He does 4 wounds to the Gargantula. I do 3 back, and I fail my stubborn check, because I wasn't within range of that general again. So I run, and he catches me. Start of turn 3 for the Orc and Goblins. The Iron Orcs declare a charge against these guys. They decide to hold. The Forest Goblin King goes in there as well. These guys had actually fled for some reason, and they were ending up over here. The Cave Goblins continue to flee, getting close to the edge of the board. The Common Orcs over here declared a charge against the Wild Horns, and my general declared a charge against his general as well. Only my general didn't make it in. Everything else made it. I bring the raiders over here, just in case he's there. I want to make sure he gets off the edge of the board. We go into magic. We do Awaken the Beast on, I think I did +1 resilience on the Iron Orcs again. And that was the casting roll right there. He threw all his dice at it and still went off. And then I did, I believe I did the Swarm of Insects against his general as well, which I think actually caused a wound. We go into, actually I think this was shooting. We shot at him, caused a wound, but he saved it with his fortitude. Then we go into combat. We crush the Wild Horns. The Iron Orcs elect to restrain pursuit, which they do. They pivot on the spot 90 degrees. And the Forest Goblin King goes after him. Catches him and runs him down. We go into this combat. He does 6 wounds to me, and I only did 5 wounds to him. So he actually, we did the combat score up, ended up in a complete push, which is unfortunate because now those Minotaurs are going to make mincemeat out of those guys. That's what the table looks like as we go into turn 4 for the Beastherds. So the Minotaurs come in here. His general went into my general, and those Longhorns went into the Iron Orcs. Centaurs went into the Git Launcher on the far flank. Everybody makes it in. We go into magic phase, and I believe he got one of the totems. I can't remember what it's called, but gave them terror over here. And also buffed his Minotaurs a bit, which I wasn't really worried about because they were going to run through these guys no matter what. So we go into combat. Over here, he kind of whiffs a little bit, actually. He only kills, I think, 3 guys, 2 or 3 guys, and I proceed to open up a can of whoop ass. I think I actually killed 6 of him, so it ended up in a complete push in this one. We go to the general fight. He does a single wound to me. I didn't do a single wound back to him. He wins and I flee, but he didn't catch me. As you can see, those orcs over here, the Minotaurs just ran right through them. Killed it down to just the character, and then the character ran and was chased down by the Minotaurs. This is the start of my turn 4, I guess. So both those surprising low leadership roll this turn was kind of the theme. The Forest Goblin King passes a march check, comes up past the Minotaurs. Those Raiders pass a march check and go in front of the Minotaurs. The cave goblins that are fleeing over here that I didn't get a picture of, they rally, and then there's also a unit of Forest Goblin Raiders that are way over here on the far flank, and they rallied as well. My general rallies, and that's pretty much it. We go into magic phase. We cast Swarm of Insects on him. Went off, didn't do anything for damage. Get Scarification, and then we did +1 resilience on my general. He tried to stop it, but I managed to get it off again. So there's that Swarm of Insects. We go into combat over here. This time, he does a couple wounds to me. I do a couple wounds to him. I break, and he runs me down. And yeah, that's pretty much it as we go into Beastherds turn 5. So for Beastherds turn 5, the Longhorns declare a charge against these orcs. They stand and shoot, do wounds, they make it in. pretty much it. These guys charged the Forest Goblin Raiders. The Raiders fled, but they still rolled high enough and managed to catch him. And then over here, his unit of Wild Horns declare a charge against that Forest Goblin King, and he makes that in. And then, of course, his general declares a charge against my general again, makes that one. The Centaurs finished up that Git Launcher pass turn, and they start making their way back to the center. We go into the magic phase, and he buffed these guys in some kind of a way. I forget what it was, but nothing that really played a role. We go into this fight. I issue a challenge. His character wants to keep the leadership or something there. I'm not sure. But the champion takes it. I kill him, and he sticks. I think I did max overkill there. So we're just sticking there, fighting it out. We go into this fight over here. Forget what totem this is that he must have got off on his Longhorns. He makes mincemeat out of those orcs as expected. They break, and they get away, actually. So that's what that's looking like as they run. Over here, I think this turn, he managed to do 2 wounds to me. So I got 1 left, and I didn't do a single wound back to him. I stick around this time, and that's what the table looks like as we go into my turn 5. I didn't have really any moving. I think I actually declared this charge. It was a long one, but I figured if I can make it and lower his strength, maybe. The shaman who was over here moves up over there just to see the flank if these centaurs come around. We go into the magic phase. Oddly enough, we get +1 resilience on my general here again. Go into combat. These guys, they open up this time. They do 2 wounds to me. I did a couple wounds to him. I pass my leadership check and stick around. We go over here, and he doesn't do a single wound to me. I don't do a single wound to him. And we're just sticking around, fighting it out. His turn 6. He brings the centaurs up over here, like I kind of thought. And the Longhorns chase off the remaining not the boar boys. The common orcs with bows, they flee, which panicked the goblins off the table. He tried to redirect his charge into the Git Launcher that's way down here and failed it. These guys try and move up within the token. Unfortunately, they don't get close enough. We go into magic. He casts Savage Fury and Break the Spirit. So this unit's going to absolutely destroy that Forest Goblin King this time. And we go into combat. This time, unfortunately, he does put the last wound on me. Kills off that Forest Goblin King. Pivots on the spot. And that's kind of how things look as we go into turn 6. Oh no, he didn't kill me this time. Turn 6, sorry, spoilers. My shaman declares that charge against flank, makes it in. These guys declare a charge here again, just to try and get within range to go help out. They fail it. We go into magic. We get Awaken the Beast for +1 resilience again. And it didn't work. This time he managed to put the final wound on me. And yeah. So there goes the general. I didn't take a picture of this one. But over in this fight, I win by charge and a flank. So he's only down by 1 because he does have a banner. And he breaks. I was hoping to maybe cause a panic test because I did destroy him as well. But he passes the panic test, which would have at least made the secondary contested because he would have been fleeing and the other guys aren't close enough. So, really fun game. calculated the points in the end. It was a 19-1 with him catching the secondary there. So, yeah, as I'm learning, things fall apart really quickly there if you don't have some good leadership bubbles, which is something I haven't had to practice with for quite some time with playing Undead. So, definitely takes some getting used to, but fun game. Hope you guys enjoy the battles, and stay tuned for the next one.